We get asked all the time about how to find your cervix, not just how to measure it. So we wanted to readdress an old video we had where we teach you how to measure your cervix, but instead we want to help you find it first and then very accurately measure it. Hey everybody, this is Kim and Amanda from Put a Cup in It. Amanda is going to talk to you all about how to find your cervix, and then I'll be teaching you how to measure your cervical height. That way you pick the right menstrual cup for you.
While we touched on it briefly in our how to measure your cervix video, we still get a lot of questions about how do you know what your cervix is, what does it feel like, how high is it, I still can't find it, things like that. So we're going to go over what your cervix is, how to reach it, and what it feels like. This is a little clay model of the uterus that I made. This portion down here is the cervix, and this is the part that sticks down into the vaginal canal. It is typically round, though it could be a little more pointed, and in general, it's going to feel a bit like the tip of your nose with a bit of an indent or hole in it. It may be a bit firmer or a bit softer depending on the time of month, but that in general is what you're looking for. If you would like to see how your cervix sits in relation to the rest of your anatomy, here is our handy model. It sits just at the end of the vaginal canal. Up here is the bladder and the pubic bone and the rectum down here. So it's just in between the two. And if you have a tipped or tilted uterus, it may be sort of facing the back towards the rectum, or it may be facing more towards the bladder, but you're still going to be feeling for the same thing. If you're having a hard time finding your cervix, make sure you're measuring when you're close to your period or on your period. Because your cervix moves up and down throughout your whole cycle, it's more likely to be lower when you're on your period, and so you'll actually be able to find it and reach it. And this is going to give you a better idea of what length of cup you need anyway. If you are unable to find your cervix, it is very, very, very likely that you have a high cervix, and we definitely recommend choosing a longer cup so that your cup is easy to reach. If you're feeling for your cervix and you feel things but you're not sure that it's your cervix, chances are that it is. There's a pretty clear distinction between the walls of the vagina and the cervix. The walls of your vagina are soft and supple, sort of like your cheek, though they may have some ridges in them, but the only thing you're gonna find that has any substance or like real firmness is going to be your cervix.
Now that you know how to find your cervix, we want to teach you how to measure it accurately. And this is something that's sort of a hot debate in the menstrual cup community because a lot of the guides will use a knuckle measurement to show you the lowest knuckle being very low cervix, the middle knuckle being somewhat average, and all the way to your highest knuckle being a higher than average cervix. But that's something we sort of disagree on. And while we used that before because it's an easy way to measure, we would rather teach you a more accurate way. As Amanda said, you want to measure your cervix while you're on your period because this is going to give you the most accurate result. You're going to do this by inserting a finger. The pointer finger is perfectly fine, and you'll probably be coming in from this angle. And in this model, I can't even reach this cervix, which means if I'm feeling around and finding nothing, and I'm on my period, chances are I have a very high cervix. For most of us, that's not the case. So starting as if this were a little lower, I'm reaching inside and I can find it, and we'll pretend that my lips are here and I can reach it to about this knuckle. Versus saying that your middle knuckle means your average, I would actually mark it with my thumb where everything is inside. The entire finger is inside the vagina, and you put your thumb, just place it right inside the inner lips. And that way you give yourself a little grace. We'll say my lips are here, I'm gonna place my thumb right here. And then I'm gonna take out my finger, and I'm gonna measure that with either a ruler or a measuring tape, whatever you have around the house. You can even go online and print a ruler that's to scale using centimeters, which we typically find a little more accurate versus 1.5 inch or whatever. So again, it's going to sit below the cervix, measure out, make sure everything is comfortably inside, and that's going to give you the most accurate measurement that you can then use to most accurately pick a menstrual cup that's going to fit you comfortably, which is so, so, so important, even beyond some of the other designations like the PACII.
As a quick recap, when you're trying to choose a cup based on your cervix, you want to find something that sits lower than your cervix, or if you have a very low cervix, you want something that will sit around it a bit. Once you know where your cervix sits, you can find a cup that works for you using the cup quiz, which you can find at putacupinit.com/quiz. I think that covers it. If you have any other questions about your cervix, please leave them in the comments below and we'll do our best to answer them. Or maybe someone from our wonderful community will step in and help as well. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to give this video a like and give us a subscribe so that you can see new content as it comes out. Bye.
This is Kim, and I'm also here with Amanda, who is in Ohio.
Now I've made my nose itch.
You can either
Up and down throughout your whole cycle. Woo, woo.